Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Max Girl Talk. I'm your girl, author Erica. I hope everyone is having a great day. Today, I have my good friend on CaTyra. And let me know if I butcher your name because I'm crazy and I could get it. It's okay. But thanks for taking time out your busy day to come on to the Max Girl Talk to share with us and all my listeners and my watchers on your business.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we just gonna dive right into this. Tell us about your business.
Yes, so I started Love for Words in 2017. It's an editing boutique, and I primarily work with other Black female entrepreneurs here in the United States, ages 30 to 60, who are interested in becoming authors. So the first thing that I do is I help them polish their manuscripts, making sure they look good, that they sound good, and that they're ready to be published. Another part of what I do is also referrals. So if my client needs a publisher or an illustrator, a formatter, or another professional for services I don't offer, I often do connect them with other professionals through a referral network. So that's another component of what I do. I'm a nine-time published author myself, so I know what it's like to work with editors. I know that sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, or people are afraid to hand over their manuscripts to editors, and they get nervous, and that's normal. And that's another part of what I do as an editor, making sure that we build rapport, that you trust me, that the skill set that I have matches your expectations, and really just offering also words of encouragement along the way. So it's not just about pointing out what you've done, what mistakes you made in your manuscript, or what doesn't sound good, or the things that need improvement, but it requires a balance, which also is necessary to tell you what you did well, what your strong points are, what your audience will connect with, things that I like, things that I think your audience will like when they read the book. So for me, that's really the most important part, is that relationship building and the encouragement, because it's not always easy, to write and publish a book.
Right, it is not because I published three books actually. The Journey was my first book, and it was scary because I did I wa- I didn't want nobody to change my words, and because the journey is based off of my life, that was one thing that I was scared. I ran into a editor. She wanted to change everything.
Yes.
So how you
Mhm.
gonna change everything about my life? And I was
Mhm.
like, no. She wanted to change everything, and then it was like she charged me an arm and a leg, and I was like, oh Jesus.
Mhm.
So that was one
Mhm.
thing. And I really found this editor. She was an older lady. She was in North Carolina. And we built this rapport, and she asked me why I wanted to go with the book and everything. And she made it like she said, for number one, this is a biography. This is about your life. Only you know. But what I can do is clean it up and
Mhm.
make it sound professional.
Right.
Right. So I know how that can be, dealing with people just trying to get someone on board to understand your vision, especially someone that's not around with you at the time. So
Right.
we
Right.
always need that person that's gonna come for us and get us through that. So so tell us how you came up with the name for your business.
Yes, well, I knew I wanted to create. So I guess I'll step back. So the parent company is Poland Enterprises LLC, and I was originally operating under Poland Enterprises LLC. But as you can imagine, that doesn't really give anybody an idea of what type of business it is. It's my last name and then Enterprise LLC. So I knew I needed to come up with a DBA that indicated something about books, something about reading, or something about writing. So I was just, writing down a list, and then, thinking about my past and what I love to do. And I started writing poetry in middle school and always loved reading and writing. So, I came up with Love for Words. You might hear that, you may not necessarily connect that I'm an editor, but if you hear that, you'll know it has something to do with reading and or writing. So that was really important to choose something that give my potential clients an indication of the types of services that I have. Because sometimes you come across businesses and the names don't align with what the business is. So you might click it and then you get there and it's nothing like what you expected. So that's a recommendation I have to any of the listeners or audience who are in business or would like to be in business. The name of your business definitely matters. So don't rush through that part. Make sure it makes sense and that it, is logical and that it's going to attract the clients that you want.
Right. And I think that's good because I always hear and the reason why I come up with the question how you came up with your name because I want to know like I had this girl on Maya. She has embodied the embodied. So I'm like, how
Mhm.
you came with that? She was like, because I wanted to embody my body or to help build self-esteem. So I was like, that's always a good question to ask. Like, how did you come up with your name? And love for words does it tells me that you're into reading because you love words, and
Mhm.
it also could have told it tells me that you might be someone that spells like because you love words, so
Mhm.
and words and books connect. So
Right.
the next question that I have for you, what are some of the pros and cons have you faced as a businesswoman?
Yeah. So some of the cons, it's balancing between, you know, I'm the chief editor, so it's a balance between actually editing manuscripts and also handling the administrative tasks, like the
Okay.
invoicing, um, like the invoicing or responding to emails or setting up programs or things like that. So it's really that's been one of the bigger challenges. I have, I have 2 virtual assistants, so I am able to delegate, but again, that comes with capital to pay them. So
Right.
sometimes I have to, sometimes I have to do the stuff myself depending on the, fluctuation of income. So then I go back to balancing between editing and administrative, and then there's other times where I can, you know, bring them on board and delegate tasks, which frees me up to focus on the editing so much like, many other entrepreneurs, that's always a struggle working, doing the work that you love in your business and doing the things that you have to do in your business that can be time suckers. And not everybody has the capacity to have a virtual assistant.
Right.
So a solution for that is bartering, which is basically just exchanging a service and or product instead of money. So as an editor, I might offer my editing services to a virtual assistant and they will offer their um, what is it? What do I want to say? Maybe they'll offer email management in exchange. So for those of you who might be struggling with paying people for services or products that you need, don't forget that you can barter, and that can alleviate some of the stressors that you're feeling. So that's the biggest con I would say. And then the pros, I mean, I feel there are a lot of pros. So, being able to network with others. One of the reasons I became an editor is because I know that there's a gap between Black editors and Black authors. And as a Black female author
Yeah.
myself, I wanted to be a part of closing that gap. So, like you, I'm sure you know, as you're a published author, when a black woman or a black man or a black woman or black man hands their manuscript over to a white middle class male or a white older male, there's a veil there automatically just because of that racial and cultural difference. So not only are you nervous about getting your edits back, you might be nervous that he's judging you because you use Ebonics or
Right.
because you have names like CaTyra or because you're using African American African American vernacular or talking about things that happen in the Black culture that he doesn't know about, doesn't
Doesn't
respect, doesn't
understand.
value, doesn't like, etc. So I wanted to be a part of closing that so that when Black authors hand over their manuscripts to Black editors, that's one less thing they have to worry about. So that's that's a pro for me. And then the other part of that again is just encouraging people. I've been blessed and lucky enough to have family and friends who've always supported me. I never had teachers tell me that I couldn't reach my goals. my parents didn't discourage me. I didn't face those adversities, but I know other people have. So I'm always excited to work with authors and see them blossom, and say,
Right.
hey, you did this really well. This is what's going well in your manuscript. Keep going. You can do it. These are some resources to help you. So that's what I would say another pro is, just encouraging other people, and seeing being able to go to their book signings, and seeing them, light up when they get their books in the mail, and them telling me how their books have touched clients, and being a part of helping them do that, is definitely another pro.
Good. Like that's I bet that is. Like talk about talk about more about the broader way you offer a service to someone that work with you. Like say for instance, I might need a marketing person. I may offer what I sell to them and in exchange for a service. Talk about that more because I know a lot of entrepreneurs that may help them, Jewel here, y'all. Check this one out.
For sure. Yeah, so that can be really important in growing your business. And again, especially for startup businesses who lack the capital. Again, just don't overlook that. It's really important. I would recommend that whatever you're bartering, make sure it's mutual. So you don't want to offer, if you're a photographer, you don't want to offer to take pictures for the client for the whole year, and you are getting, I don't know, maybe you're getting one ream of paper. That's not an equal balance. So,
Right.
if
That's
you're
not
working with somebody who has like a supply store, if you're offering to take their pictures for an entire year for free, you should be getting all your office supplies for free for that year.
right.
The other part of so just making sure that it's mutually beneficial, that you're not being taken advantage of. And I would hope that you also wouldn't intentionally take advantage of the other person you're bartering with. The other component of that is making sure you get an official contract. So even though there's no money involved, to make sure that you both, or however many people are part of the barter, to make sure that all parties are committed and they are going to be held accountable, you need to get a contract anyway, even though there's no money being exchanged, because you need to be able to say, okay, this is what we agreed to, and you haven't done that. So I need to hold you accountable. This is the document. You signed it. This is what you agreed to. How are we going to rectify this? So making sure it's mutually beneficial, making sure you have an official contract, and then also paying attention to what's in the contract. So I had a contract with someone. It was for a year. But the following year, she's like, oh, I want to move forward with X number of pages for publishing. And I just reminded her that that contract was only for the previous year. So make sure you pay attention to that, because people may forget, or they may intentionally be trying to take advantage of you. And here you are 5 years later honoring a contract that expired 5 years ago. So pay attention to what's in your contract. So those are the three tips I have for that: making sure it's mutually beneficial, making sure you have an official contract, and making sure you pay attention to what's in that contract. So you should read it before you sign it, and make sure that you agree to all the terms that are in there.
okay. That sounds like a winner because I know a lot of as small business myself, I have a small business that I just started up this year. So sometimes we run into problems where we may need help for marketing or we may need help for, strategizing what we need to do. So that will be a good way to offer hand in hand help. So let's talk about your business. Have your business faced any struggle during the pandemic? Like any you did you lose customers or did you gain customers? Did you experience any struggle during the pandemic?
The biggest struggle was just the canceling of in-person events. I
Okay.
did a lot of networking in person, so I would, acquire customers that way, going to networking events or conferences, seminars, presentations. So all of that came to a halt. So that was definitely a struggle during the pandemic. Gratefully, I saw a lot of positive come out of the pandemic. I was able to secure grants last year and this year, because there were lots of grants available to small
Okay.
businesses, specifically business owners who are of color.
Okay.
So I benefited from that, and I did see an increase in clients, and I think that's because people had more time at home. They weren't going to work. They were sitting in the house, and they said, I'm going to sit down and write this book now. So
Right.
again, I've seen several blessings. I've seen more blessings through the pandemic in my business than I have losses. which I'm
Right.
certainly grateful for. So it has been, yeah, overall, it's been a blessing, in regards to the growth of my business. I've been able to work with some other independent contractors and outsourcing projects that, you know, maybe I didn't have the time for because I was already working on the manuscript. So I've seen a lot of, positive things come out of the manuscript, not the manuscript, to
The
come out of my
business.
business during the pandemic.
And that's good because you had a lot of small business that they lost. Some of them
Right,
lost their business because they had like storefronts or they was doing
right,
pop up
exactly.
shops or stuff like that. So do you do any of those things like pop up shops or do you do events and all?
I don't do pop-up shops. I've thought about incorporating something like that where I go maybe to, a different location, once a month and just announce, hey, you can come out and ask me some questions. I haven't implemented that, but it's something I thought about. I don't typically do vendor tables just because I don't have products. I feel
Okay.
like it's more beneficial for those who are selling a product versus a service.
Service.
I have done vendor tables in the past though, and I've taken my books with me and, of course, promoted my business, but that's not something I do regularly. Every once in a while, I might do like go to an author expo and take my books and talk about my editing. But that's not something I do regularly. Most of my promoting and marketing is virtual, like
Okay.
podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
or online conferences. Sometimes I do workshops or I host events or panels and things like that. So a lot of my interaction and acquiring customers happens online, referrals, social media, things like that.
Okay, cool, cool. So what are some ways that you do promote your business? What are some ways you promote your business?
Yes, so I do some marketing, but I mostly do public relations. So for those of you who may not know, marketing is when you pay for something to be promoted on your behalf, whether it's your business or your product or whatever you're selling or you want people to buy. And then I don't do too much of that. Sometimes I do magazine ads. Occasionally I'll do social media ads like on Facebook or Instagram. But primarily I do public relations opportunities, and public relations is typically, well, unpaid. So, like a podcast, some podcast guests do charge for their podcast, but there are plenty of free ones, such as, your podcast.
Yes.
So, I take advantage of podcasts to promote my business. I also take advantage of social media. I have a social media manager, Holly. So she does my social media for me, and I do get referrals that way. People see my stuff on Instagram or Facebook and they'll contact me. I also use Facebook groups. So you can go into the groups and you can post about your businesses. So sometimes I'll do that. Most often, though, like if I see a post, like I'm looking for an editor, then I'll respond to that in the comments and put my website and contact information. So that's another way. And again, these are free ways that you can promote. I've done events where, like I said, I do workshops. So I did a workshop for a writing academy talking about it was like editing 101. So obviously during those types of workshops I can, state this is my business, these are the services I offer, and then I always have that closing contact slide so that if they want to get in touch with me they can. I hosted a editors panel that featured Black editors. So I host, and then I also, sometimes I'm a guest for different programs, which allow me to promote my business. So there are many ways that you can promote. I typically take advantage also of owned media versus earned media. So earned media is like TV, like a commercial on TV or a radio spot, and those are things you have to pay for. And then the owned media is like podcasts. So these are channels that people create on their own, and not it's not necessarily owned, at the like government or local or state level. It's individuals who enterprise on their own and create their own ways that businesses can promote themselves. So also like blogs or people who have their own magazines. Those are other ways that you can, participate in public relations for your business, and also owned media options, which are typically free or low cost. So I don't spend a whole lot on marketing. I just don't.
So would you say that spending this huge amount on marketing? would you say it's fair that it works or it don't work? What's your opinion about paid marketing?
Well, I would say if you have a very large following, then I would say that it will be worth it. So Walmart does a lot of, marketing. You see their ads on TV, you see their ads in magazines, you see them, in spaces that require them to pay. But you have to think about Walmart as a giant retail store. They
Mm,
have the money to do that.
right.
They have millions of dollars that they can put into advertising. But if
Hmm.
you're a small or mid-sized business, then your marketing budget is not the same as Walmart's budget. You probably have a smaller budget. Um, so you just have to figure out what your budget is, how much income you have, and then you can determine how much you'd like to spend on your marketing. Um, I would encourage you to look at the return on investment. So if you did spend $1,000, in the month of November advertising, what did you get from that? Did they okay,
Right.
you got 1,000 clicks. Did anybody buy your product though? That's the end
Right.
goal.
Hmm.
So if you spent $1,000 January through June, that's $6,000 on marketing. How much of that did you make back from those social media ads? Did you only make 1,000 back? So most people are probably not going to continue to spend that much if they're only making a fraction back. So the good thing is you can, do your due diligence and see if it was worth it. Now, if you spent 1,000 a month and you're making 5,000 a month, hey,
Hey,
you're making profit. So keep on
right.
spending that 1,000. But if you see that you're not, making a profit, I would recommend cutting back on the marketing or maybe trying a different style of marketing. So maybe you're not getting those sales on Facebook. Try switching to Instagram. You might switch to Instagram and you might see that increase and say, okay, it's worth it to do marketing on Instagram, but not Facebook. So I also encourage you to try different types of marketing to see, which one works best for you so you're not wasting that money.
Right. Because I noticed I use Google Ads for my personal business, for my Marie's Aroma Bees business. Like
Hmm.
I was spending $100, but I was getting the clicks, but I wasn't getting
Yeah.
the orders. Like, in
Mhm.
one day, I would get like 50 clicks and 40 people visit my website, but nobody buy nothing.
Right.
So that was just a lot of money that I was putting out, and
Hmm.
all I was getting was clicks and visits.
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
do have to kind of balance that, because I can't keep putting out $100 and
Right.
I'm not getting a big return on that, because
Right.
that's and then I'm wasting time on that too, because you still have to do a a store for this and that, like it's just a whole lot you go through, and you just get clicks. You get a lot of clicks and visits, but no real sales,
Right.
so you have to, like, with marketing, I noticed that, just getting into it, you have to be very cautious on how much you spending,
Mhm.
because you can those ads on Facebook and Instagram, those $10, $15, they start adding up quickly.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely. And that's why I always recommend earned media too. So like I said, a lot of podcasts are free. And then once you get that video, you can put that on your website, you can put that on your social media, you can chop it up, you can use the whole interview. You
right.
can it's recycled content. You can use it for, like I could use this podcast to talk about, I could cut the part where we talked about the cons of entrepreneurship and make a post out of that for
Mhm.
LinkedIn. I could put that on YouTube. I can put it on Facebook, Instagram, you know. So there are so many pros to using earned media, oh, excuse me, owned media,
Yeah.
and also public relations, which don't necessarily cost you dollars out of your pocket, but you're still getting that exposure. You still have people are going to come and watch this video. They might not watch it tonight or Monday night or whenever. They might watch it in 6 months, and they might say, and that might be a client. Oh, I saw you on Erica's show. So you just never know where that public relations is going to take you. And it doesn't always require money for you to promote your business.
Right, gotcha. So my next question is, what's the exciting part about being a business person about running your business? What's the exciting part of it?
I mean, there's a lot of exciting parts. One of the things that I cherish the most is being able to choose who I work with and who I work for. So all of my independent contractors are Black, and that's not a coincidence. I want to work with people who look like me, who appreciate, what I have to offer, who can relate to, some of the cultural things that I've experienced, who can relate to some of the racial history that we have in this country specifically. So I always seek out Black creatives and Black freelancers and independent contractors first. If for some reason I can't find someone to fit the bill, I might, then I'll do a secondary choice. But being an entrepreneur allows you that freedom to decide, this is the team that I want to work with. And the same thing with the clients. If I have a client who comes to me and there's some, things that we talk about during the consultation that are a red flag for me, I can say, this isn't the best fit. I can recommend this other editor, or, I'm sorry, I'm not able to help you, but go here and maybe you can find an editor who can help you. So that freedom in deciding who your team is and who your clients are is always very refreshing for me, and it's always empowering to be able to make those decisions. And then that I forgot what my second one was. But yeah, being able to choose who I work with and for. And I will also say being able to, design my own brand and make the decisions about, my business. I like to, I consider myself to be an independent person. So being able to say, make those decisions without a supervisor or manager that I have to get approval from. Or
Right.
if I want to go to a workshop or a conference, the only person I really have to consult with is me.
It's myself.
So
Right.
that's a pro to me, because of my personality and my preference. I definitely consider that a benefit of being a business owner. And then also, just being able to network with other entrepreneurs, learning from them, collaborating. Collaboration is always fun. Finding people who are able to help me improve my business. Like I have a friend who's also a publisher, Ebony Nicole Smith. She also does Canva designs. So if I need a new banner, I can tap her like, "Hey, I need a new banner for my social media," and she's there to help me. So that's also a pro, just developing the professional relationships, but oftentimes they grow into friendships. So being able to work with people that you like, people that you love, um, and help them on their journey too. If you have other skill sets that complement what they're doing, because again, sometimes I refer my clients to her for publishing, and she'll refer her clients to me for editing. So that dynamic of working together, specifically with other Black professionals, is always so inspiring to me and empowering, and I'm glad that I can be a part of eradicating the stereotypes that Black people, their businesses are subpar, or that we are not serious about our business, we're not professional, and all that other crap they like to say about
Right.
Black businesses.
Yes. Yes, and I get it. I understand that 100%.
Hmm.
So, what are what are any suggestions or comment that you may have for someone that may be sitting down watching this podcast show and they're thinking about doing a business? What do you have for them? What suggestions or advice you have for them?
I would recommend, different business assessments just to see what your strengths are, what your challenges are. Also figuring out what you're interested in and what you like. I find that when people do things that they like or things they're interested in, they tend to excel. They're more willing to stick with it. They're more willing to, see it through to reach their goals because they're interested in it, because it's something that they want to do. So making sure that you actually like the business that or the industry that you would like to pursue, that you're not doing it because it's a family business or you feel like you're going to make the most money in that industry. Making sure you're doing it, for the right reasons, that you want to be there, that, you have a passion for it. And then again, the assessment piece of that, there's plenty of business assessments online and do your due diligence to figure out which ones are reliable and not reliable. But those help. I'm in a accelerator program, and we took a few different assessments, and I was able to learn more about my leadership style, more about where I excel and what things I need to work on. So assessments have been really helpful, and those are basically like quizzes or things that you can do online, and you answer questions, and then they tell you, okay, this is kind of where you fall. These are the pros and cons of that style, etc. The other thing I would recommend is getting a mentor. So maybe connecting with someone who's in the industry that you're interested in, whether that's through SCORE, which is an official program where they pair you with a mentor for free, or you can, find a mentor on your own who's in your area, or use LinkedIn to find a mentor. It doesn't have to, it can even be an unofficial mentor. So maybe like a celebrity entrepreneur, and just follow their page, see what they're doing, pick up on any, you know, tidbits or recommendations that they're making, or watching their interviews to see what they're talking about and see how you can apply that to your business. I will also recommend working on different ways to improve your self esteem and your confidence, because being a business owner, there's a lot of blows to your confidence. You might post something that doesn't get the traction that you expected. You may have a client give a negative review. So there are many things that can come and kind of crush your confidence. So I would recommend you find ways to keep your confidence high, reminding yourself what you've achieved, or keeping a log of your achievements throughout the year, and then just reviewing that whenever you're feeling maybe overwhelmed, or if you're feeling discouraged about your business, going back and looking at those testimonials of people who said they loved working with you, or that you did a great job, or even looking at the posts that did really well on your social media, spending time with people who encourage you. You don't want to spend time with, yes men or yes women who are just going to say yes to everything. But you don't want to spend time with people who are constantly putting you down either, or shooting down your ideas because they're projecting their fears onto you, or they are envious, or they're jealous. So being selective and using discernment for those you have around you, not just professionally and in business, but even personally. So I will also say that's really important. So yeah, finding a mentor, learning more about yourself through assessments, and even asking other people, what they see as your strengths and challenges. And then I forgot what I just said. The last one, I don't remember.
Self-esteem. You talked
Oh
about
yeah,
self-esteem.
self-esteem, and then yeah, choosing your circle wisely.
Yes. And that's always a plus, because sometimes, I experience my little things to where, one week I'm doing good and one week I'm not. Sometimes you're gonna have those days, and you gotta know how to keep your head up and keep pushing, because you could go a whole month and not have a sale, but you have to keep on pushing at the end of the day. So
Yes.
that was good information. So before we leave, CaTyra, give us a positive affirmation.
Oh my goodness, what's my favorite saying? Oh, embrace it or change it. So if there's something you have that you don't like, then you need to change it. If there's something that you have that you do like, then you need to embrace it so it doesn't go away.
And my positive affirmation is to be kind. Be
Mhm.
kind to one another. Always lend a helping hand to the next person, because everybody may not be where you at. So let's
Right.
try to help bring that next person to where you at. If you're in a good place, let's try to pull the next person behind us to that good place. So just be kind. So
Mhm.
I want to say thanks. It was great. I want to say thanks from stopping by to the Max Girl Talk and talking about your business and sharing that information and sharing the knowledge that you have um of your business with being a small business entrepreneur. So before we leave, do you have anything before we leave?
Yes, I would just like to encourage you to visit my website. It's love number four words with an s.com. So if you have a manuscript and you would like more information about the editing, you can schedule a consultation on my website. That's love number four words.com. I'm also on Instagram, Poland LLC, Twitter, Poland LLC, and then I'm also on Facebook. It's Love for Words, but it's facebook.com/Poland LLC. If you're new to editing and you just want an overview, I also have a free ebook that you can receive. If you go on my website, you can just submit a message to me and I can email you the ebook.
Wow.
It's called
So
Editor Knows Best. And I also have a podcast, same name, Editor Knows Best. So if you're an author, publisher in the literary field or connected to literary professionals and you'd like to be a guest, you can also reach out to me on my website and let me know you'd like to be a guest on Editor Knows Best.
yeah, so it's always great, I like to talk to other black authors like
Mhm.
myself because I get to learn and think about I want to write another book but I don't want
Mhm.
to. So I really don't know right now cuz I have The Journey is my first book, then I have Sister I Got Your Back is my second book, and then I have the ABC Kids inspirational book. So
Okay.
it's like a workbook that kids could do. It's like A for awesome, B for,
Mhm.
so it's just kind of
Yeah.
inspiring our kids to be better because
Right.
I experienced things in my life. So it was like why I came up with that ABC book for kids because I couldn't read in the fourth grade. So I wanted
Mhm.
to make sure our kids are on board with everything. So I just want to say thank you so much and thank everybody from tuning in to the Max Girl Talk. I'm your girl, author Erica. Have a good day.
Thank you.